Hello students, it's your favorite English professor, Professor Lorenzo, and the tutorial we'll be watching today is about writing an essay, specifically about focusing your essay, a thesis statement, and also about creating a 5-paragraph outline. This one video will probably work on just focusing your essay and then creating a thesis statement, and then we'll do a second video about an outline. I believe that's how it's going to go. So the first thing we want to talk about when writing an essay is what you need to do. So the first step of writing an essay is to choose a subject. Now, each one of you has chosen a subject for your essay, but I do want to let you know that your subjects are way too broad. They need to be kind of focused in a little bit so that you're not just writing all over the place, so you're not adding a bunch of information that you don't need. You want to be specific about what you're going to write about, and so that you can have an essay that that is not just legible, but also extremely understandable and to the point. So after you've chosen your subject, which you've done, you want to do some minor research. In other words, you want to go on the internet and read some things. We talked about acceptable sources to get information from, which would be our school library, and then I gave you a handout of 10 sources or 10 news sources that you can use for valid information. But you want to just kind of do some research and say, hey, say your subject is on I don't know, cars. Cars is really broad because there's a million things about cars. So you want to go and just do a little bit of reading about cars, and you may find that what you see most interesting is how cars are sold at car dealerships. So your minor research might say, well, I'm going to write about cars and how they're sold at car dealerships. And you do a little bit of reading about how they're sold at car dealerships, and then after that you decide what you'll need to do is focus your essay with a thesis statement. After that, you'll research your subject thoroughly, and then you'll create an outline. Now, we're not going to do thorough research, and we're not going to write an essay, but the things in green are what we're going to concentrate on today. Okay? So, first, before we get to focusing your essay, let's take a look at what a standard 5-paragraph essay outline would look like. Because before you write an essay, you want to get an outline, because an outline is like a road map telling you what to write. You don't write your essay in the outline. You just put bullet points out there that you're going to write about. If you're going to do a 5-paragraph essay, which is what you'll be doing, your first paragraph will include your introduction. In that introduction, the first sentence will be a creative opening to catch the audience's attention, which we call a hook, right? The next will be just a little bit of background information about that hook. And then we'll maybe do the preview of the main points of the essay, and then we'll write a thesis statement, which affirms the main idea of the essay. Then you'll have 3 paragraphs, 1 paragraph about one point that you're mentioning in the essay, another paragraph on the second point you're mentioning in the essay, another paragraph on the third point you're mentioning in the essay, and then you'll have a conclusion, and your conclusion will be 1 paragraph only. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs right there. So we're going to come back to outlines here shortly. Right now, we're just going to talk about focusing our essay and creating a thesis statement. So, focusing your topic. When writing a paper, you should focus on narrowing your topic as much as possible. Start off by asking yourself these questions. What do I already know? What do I think I know? And what do I need to know? And some of this stuff we found in our basic research. Remember, let's go back a little bit here. In the minor research, all right, we'll find everything we need to know in number 4, research your subject thoroughly. But we've gotten some information from our minor research. So, state your topic as a research question. First, start with something broad, like start with your topic, e.g., climate change. I mean, remember my topic was cars. Then you'll list all concepts and themes related to the topic. So I might have gone and looked online and saw things about cars, all the gas mileage on cars, how many cars are on the road, how long do cars last. But remember, I went down to number 3 or actually probably number 2, and decided that I want to talk about how cars are sold, and maybe I want to generate a research question how they're sold at car dealerships. Maybe that'll be my my focus. We'll see in a minute. So if I've decided I wanted to talk about I wanted to write about how cars are sold at a dealership, then I want to focus that by creating a thesis statement. When writing an essay, the main thing you want to keep in mind is that you need a clear focus to follow through with. This focus should come in the form of a statement called a thesis. It can be helpful to place the focus statement in your introduction. The most common placement is in the last sentence of the opening paragraph, and that's where I want to see your thesis statement at the last sentence of the opening paragraph. This is where the thesis statements are usually expected in academic writing. It's not always necessary, as they say here, but that's where I want to see yours. Okay, your thesis statement will be the last sentence of the first paragraph. Okay, so what is a thesis statement? A thesis statement is a clear statement of your focus or your main point. What is the basic idea or point you want to convey to the reader? What is your argument? What do you want to make the reader believe? And can you think of at least 3 or 4 points that clearly relate to this main point? In other words, can your point be argued? So, a promise to the reader. What promise do you make to the reader about where your essay is going? What a thesis statement is not. It is not a statement of fact. It is a statement of opinion. It is your opinion, okay? And it should not be written in the form of a question. Those are very important. Let's talk a little bit more about what a thesis statement is. A single focused sentence that reveals an argument or subject of your essay is usually somewhere in your first paragraph. We already decided it's going to be at the end of the paragraph. Your thesis statement should be specific. It should cover only what you will discuss in your paper and should be supported with specific evidence. Only what you will discuss in your paper. This thesis statement is important because everything you write is going to go back to that thesis statement. Directly answers the questions asked of you. A thesis is an interpretation of a question or subject, not the subject itself. The subject or topic of an essay might be World War II or Moby Dick. A thesis must then offer a way to understand the war or the novel. Makes a claim that others might dispute. How do I focus my thesis statement? The first sentence of each paragraph should make a point that clearly relates back to the thesis statement. We said that already, all right? We'll go here. So let's watch this video and see what they say.
In order to write a successful essay, it is vital to formulate a clear, specific thesis statement. The thesis states the point of your paper. It tells the reader what your paper is about. Think of this thesis as a one-sentence summary of the essay. A thesis will have a topic and a claim. The claim tells the reader your attitude, your opinion, or your point about the topic. Finally, a thesis should include specifics about the points or the areas that you will use to explain your claim. Let's look at some examples. This thesis not only identifies the topic and the attitude, but it also identifies the 3 types of problems that will be covered in the essay. Here's another example. The thesis identifies the topic, the claim, and the 3 major points that will be used in the essay to support the claim. The thesis is the heart of the essay. Without a thesis, your essay will be as good as dead. In order to write a successful essay, it is essential to formulate a clear, specific thesis statement.
All right, so let's see what that looks like in real life, okay? So what we're going to do first here is generate a Word file. And at first, I decided that the subject I wanted to write about is cars, right? First, let's make sure we turn this in the correct MLA format. Times New Roman 12, which I don't know why it's not, because I have my default set up that way, so I don't know why it changed all of a sudden. There you go. So my first major subject was cars. We decided that cars is too broad because there's just way too much information about out there about cars. Okay, and the cars is a broad subject. I went on the internet and let's see here. I searched cars and found, let's see here, all types, new cars, used cars, dealers, all kinds of information, cars for sale. Then I'm here, used cars. I'm getting a lot of stuff about cars for sales. There's a movie Cars, Cars from the Washington Post. Regardless, there's 15,070,000,000 pieces of information in Google about cars. So that's just way too much to write about. So I said, I need to go down to something that's more focused. And since I saw this about new cars, used cars, and car dealers for sale, I decided that, hey, you know what? How do you buy a car, or how do dealers sell cars? So I said, you know what? I'll focus it down to that. So I go back here and I'll say, my question is, how do dealers sell cars? Don't laugh at me misspelling the word. That's what we got spell check for. So that's not my thesis. That's just the question I'm gonna write about. That's the question I'm asking myself. This is what I want to answer my thesis. And as I do a little bit more research, I think, okay, here's my thesis statement. Car dealers sell cars to the public on the internet, at auctions, and through dealerships. Oh my goodness, I think there's really something wrong with my So that's my thesis statement. I started out with a broad subject, cars. Then I came to how do dealers sell cars. And after doing a little research and finding out how dealers sell cars, my thesis statement is car dealers sell cars to the public on the internet, at auctions, and through dealerships. And of course, dealers should not be capitalized. Bad, bad, bad. And there you go. There's my thesis statement. Car dealers sell cars to the public on the internet, at auctions, and through dealerships. Your homework for today, which will be due based upon the lesson in Canvas, will be to take your subject and develop a thesis statement for it. Post it in the Canvas discussion. And as I said, if you look in the Canvas discussion, it will tell you when that is due. All right? So any questions, you can give me a holler, you can text me. But this is your lesson for today, and have a great day.